What's going on there, guys? Mike, I'm in my coat just for you, buddy, because you were talking about my coat. You know, I started thinking the other day, I get all these bikes in, and I just fix them, repair them, and sell them. And I never make a review with any of them, so figured today I'd warm this thing up a little bit, and we'll have a chat about the Ninja 500R. So let me finish warming her up, and we'll see you guys in a minute. A few fun facts before we get going. The Ninja 250 and the Ninja 500R, I believe, are the longest running non-changed body styles from Kawasaki. And actually this one, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe this one had the same body style from the 80s all the way until 2014. Identical, same body style. So it's interesting they never changed it over, and then they discontinued the 500 and replaced it with the Ninja 400. So yeah, fun bike, right? It's a V-twin, produces roughly 84 horsepower at a decent RPM, 6-speed. Top speed on the bike's about 110. It's not a very fast bike, but it'll get you up there in the rev band pretty quick. So it's a great traffic basher. I wouldn't say it's a highway screamer, but it's great for traffic. And we'll run that today, and we'll see what it does. My helmet's already fogging up here. Bad. It's cold out. My helmet has not cured to the outside temperature yet, so still waiting on that. But this one does have custom exhaust, as you can see. Delco custom exhaust. I should say Delcovic. And this one, as you guys know, I did a ton of work to, and I'm still not done. I have to finish mounting a few panels back up to where they go, but other than that, this thing's ready to go. And I'm considering giving the engine a quick spray, some fresh paint to liven things up. But my sister had one of these for a long time, so I actually started on this bike with my sister a long time ago. I wouldn't say started on it, because I had a 600, but we were both playing around with this. My sister first bought it, so and I had ridden dirt bikes most of my life prior to that. So anyways, let's get ready to take a rip chip. I don't want to lose anything. Make sure there's nothing in my pockets that can fly out. Oh, I do have something in this side, and then I'm just waiting on it to warm up a little bit, at least come up to that bar. I don't want to go on a cold engine. It's been pretty cool here in Florida, so giving it a proper chance to warm up. I want it to at least warm up a bit before I take off. So see you guys when we start the ride. All right, so like I said, 6-speed, great little highway ripper. It's nowhere near the power of a full-blown 600 or something like that, but it definitely has enough get up and go to rip through traffic pretty easily. You would not be putting this against a 600 street bike. It would get eaten alive with very little effort. The 600 would decimate this bike, especially if it was fuel injected. But it's a great starter sport bike for those people thinking about getting into it. It's a wonderful starter platform. So take it for a little cruise here. Just letting everything warm up still. This bike's been sitting a couple days now without riding. I never like to just jump on a bike and just tear ass. I like them to all have proper warm up. So you can hear those body panels I still haven't tightened down, squeaking a little bit. So I'll make a left here and go shred some gears. We'll talk a little bit. I think the reality is this is a perfect starter bike for somebody just getting into riding, you know. So it does have a good amount of throttle. As you can see, red line on this bike is up there pretty high. It's got a decent red line. which is around 11,000. And once you get up there into around that 5,000 or 6,000 RPM band, just like a 600, it starts coming into its power ratio, and that's when the bike becomes a lot more fun. So really trying to break these brakes in. They're still a little sticky from sitting such a long time. So this bike, god damn, this person did just half the turn on the road. I was about to just tear down. Damn it. I hate it when they do that. Please turn off. Thank you. So if you were going to take this through the turns, which I'm about to do, we're going to wind out a little bit here. We're going to push the revs up. So there we go. As you can see, it's a quick enough bike where it'll scare you. I almost just hit 80 and no problem on crappy tires, you know. So I can kick this down a gear now. There's no reason for me to be up that high. So it does have plenty of pull, but if you were to gauge that against something like a 600 or bigger, it really was not pulling that hard. For a 500, it's pulling pretty hard. For a V-twin 5, or for a twin sill 500, it's pulling pretty hard. You know, if you were to take it to, let's say, put it against another 500, like a Buell Blast 500 or something of that nature, yeah, this thing would tear a Buell Blast apart. They're not even in the same power league. This 500R would just decimate a Buell Blast. So it's a great starter bike for somebody just getting into riding. Everything's pretty self-explanatory here. There's not much to it. The gauges and everything's very, very simple. You know, they didn't even include a gas gauge for you to have to try to monitor. They just gave you a reserve tank, so in case, you know, your fuel gets a little bit low, you'll know, because it'll start to sputter, and then you just switch it over to reserve, and then you got like 1.5 gallons left. But very easy bike to control. There's not much to it. I mean, you can weave this bike in and out effortlessly. It barely takes anything to make this bike do maneuvers. Just a little bit of the hips with it, and you can counter steer really easily on this bike. It's a 500-pound bike that you can counter steer super simple. It is liquid cooled, which is great, especially if you live in a hotter state. The downside is it's carbureted, so unless you're somebody like me who likes to work on carbureted bikes, well, then you're going to be running into the issue of like, oh, you have to learn how to clean them yourself and tune them and maintain them, because essentially what happens is a lot of bike shops do not work on carbureted bikes anymore. Kawasaki wouldn't take this bike back into the dealership. You would end up having to learn to work on this bike yourself, because bikes, they don't take bikes that are 10 years or older. This bike's 2007, and like I said, most shops now don't work on carbureted machines, so you have to find a local shop willing to take on the work, and they know, just like we know, how much of a pain in the ass it is to work on carbureted bikes. You have to know what you're doing. It's not a simple thing. You know, everybody's like, oh geez, you just clean the carbs, it'll run great. It's like, no, you have to understand float height settings, synchronizing. You know, there's a lot to carburetors that people just don't understand. They think it's just simple, like, well, the carb should just work. Well, not if it's gummed up and it's dirty and you've been running trash gas through it. Then no, it's not. It's going to swell up all the gaskets. The needles are going to go to hell real quick. There's a lot of, you know, a lot of issues. So if you're buying a bike like this, yes, you can fix it with a basic tool set at your house, but you're going to be doing a lot of research and trying to figure out things for yourself. You know what I mean? You're going to have to learn. There's a learning curve that has to be had for carbureted bikes. So as far as the suspension goes, it's not my favorite. It leaves a lot to be desired, to be honest with you. So, I mean, it is what it is. So anyways, It's not my favorite suspension. You definitely feel the bumps. It's not a pleasant ride. It's a pretty aggressive ride. You can feel everything. It shifts very smooth. The throttle power, as long as you have it up at around 5,000 RPMs, right? So I got it at 5. If I were to crack this, the bike will pull really hard because it's in its power band. That's where you want to be. So if you were going to be doing any kind of racing for somebody, you want to get your RPM band up quick. Just like a 600, you want to be in your power band. That way when you crush it, the bike has tons of power because you can just pull right up to the top of the RPM band. It's in its power band. That's when the bike just screams. It wants to go. It's begging for you to just give her the beans and go. You know what I mean? So now that you have an understanding of how to ride a 500 just like a 600, you're ready to race people. No, I'm just kidding. I don't advocate racing. Unless you're at a track and you're doing it properly. You know, as I tear around my main streets here having fun. But there's no power until you get up to 5,000, and that's every single gear. Once you get to 4,500, 5,000 RPMs, and then you give it the beans, this bike will take off like a rocket ship because you've reached the power band. Once you reach that power band, you give her the hell, she's gonna go. You know, it's a quick bike. It really is. For a 500R, it's a quick bike. But it's not in league with any 600 that I've ever ridden. A 600 would absolutely dust this machine. But it is a pleasant ride. You still have tons of power. You can manage traffic really easily. Cars don't stand a chance against a bike like this, but don't buy this and expect that you're gonna go out and race other bikes unless you do a lot of modifying to it, because you're not. Every 600 or bigger bike is going to tear this thing apart if it's in the sport bike range class. So it just sounds so good. Such a healthy bike. Such a healthy sounding bike. I'm really trying to put a little riding time on this bike today. 5,000, whack it, and she goes. See? 55, crank it, she'll take off. Carve through the turns, man. This bike is perfect for this. Kick it down a gear. Kick it down another gear, apparently, because this guy's actually going to do 25, 20. He's not even doing the speed limit. Sorry, guys. That was not about the tool behind that little slow dude. It was just creeping. One more gear. There we go. Alright, I think that's a good enough ride. I think you guys know everything you need to. It does very good on gas. It gets about 65, 66 miles to the gallon. You could take this thing touring. Technically, that's what it is. It's a touring style bike. And it was designed to do that kind of riding. You see the engine staying nice and cool. Bike's happy. It's just a happy camper. Shifting gears well. This bike is enjoying its time on the road right now. It knows it's about to get parked again here in a second. Well, you barely have to pull the clutch into shift, by the way. I have it set for quick shifting now. You can just quarter, give it a quarter and she'll go. You don't have to pull it all the way in unless you're changing gears hard. So if you're just quick shifting, a little upwards pressure and give a pull, she'll go right in. Doesn't take much. That's your friction zone on your clutch. You know, it's not as smooth, I will tell you that right now. This is not nearly as smooth as a 600 or an inline 4. You know, these are twin cylinders, so they're a bit more vibraty and they feel a bit, you know, out of sync when they're at lower RPMs. So just be aware of that. If you're looking for a smooth bike, be aware. I'll just walk this in here slowly. Put her in nooch. There we go. Oh yeah, she's happy. She's happy. Smells good too. Finally burning off a lot of that crap that's been on the engine. So there you go, Ninja 500R. She's happy. Out there shredding it. I even like the battery I just popped in there. So I got a few panels I got to work on here. As you can see, haven't quite got the panels in place yet, but she rips, man. She's a straight up ripper. And surprisingly, weirdly enough, that tire is actually starting to look better every time I ride it. It's wearing off a lot of the crap, but still I don't see any serious or major cracks in it yet. So these tires weirdly might still have a little ride time left on them. I'd be a little skittish to do that, but you know, other people, they're crazy when they make a purchase. They cray. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed that. That is the Ninja 500. It's obviously not on par with something like my 1200 Gixxer, but it's good for what it is. It's a quick bike. It's a great commuter. Great for touring. Seat's comfortable. The riding position, your feet are below you. Both of these are touring style bikes, so your feet, your pegs are actually right below you instead of behind you like a sport bike. Your uprighted seating position is better. You're not hunched over the handlebars so hard. It's just, I prefer touring bikes to actual sport bikes because of that reason, that they're upright. They just feel better. I'm not crunched by the gas tank the whole time. So I've always preferred touring style sport bikes versus actual sport bikes. It's just me. I'm weird, I guess. I don't know. I'm weird. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. I do have most likely a ton more bike reviews coming because I buy these things all the time, fix them and sell them. Doesn't matter what it is, cruiser, sport, jet ski, whatever. I should just start reviewing all the bikes that I fix all the time. But I was thinking about, I'm like, you know, before I sell this, I should probably give it a review. Good bike, solid machine, bulletproof engines, run forever. I've seen these things clear 100,000 miles, no problem. So, you know, if you take care of them, maintain the carbs, do the chain maintenance, give them tires when they need it, change the oil regularly, and monitor your clutch, you're good, man. These things will last forever. Very little maintenance needs. So, all right, guys, toodles.
Are you sure this is okay? You're in country, dude. Live a little. Now, she's pretty sensitive, so go easy on the throttle, okay? All right.